Arc Raiders has officially crossed its first full month on Steam, and instead of slowing down like most games do after the launch week sugar rush, it's somehow sprinting faster, yelling louder, and pulling more players into freaking orbit. The numbers aren't just good, guys, they're the kind of numbers that make analysts blink twice and open a second tab just to confirm nothing is freaking broken. What was expected to be a solid release turned into a full-blown takeover, with Arc Raiders barging into Steam's top charts like a guest who brings their own firework
and refuses to leave until the sky is fully freaking illuminated.
And guys, none of this should have been predictable. Extraction shooters historically occupy a niche, a passionate one sure, but still a niche. Yet Arc Raiders walked right past that ceiling and introduced itself into the mainstream like it was destiny. And now, it's simply there every single freaking day, sitting amongst the highest sellers, the most played, the most wishlisted, and the most consistently crowded games on the platform. SteamDB has practically been treating it like a featured exhibit inside a freaking digital museum. And yes, before the audience starts forming an investigation squad, this take is delivered with full transparency. It's the outsider's angle, studying the numbers, the player patterns, the weekly peaks, and the entire spectacle like a scientist analyzing a meteor that smacked into the chart and refused to freaking leave. Because guys, when a game climbs to those heights and stays there for an entire month, it deserves a full spotlight.
Jokes included.
The numbers surrounding Arc Raiders' first month, they aren't impressive, guys. They're freaking historic. SteamDB has practically been waving a giant foam finger for the game since launch day. Across 30 days, Arc Raiders hasn't just stayed visible, guys. It's been welded into the top of the charts. The combination being one of Steam's top sellers, one of the most wishlisted games, and one of the most played titles on the platform is honestly rare, especially for an extraction shooter, a genre that usually exists in that weird space between cult classic and
how the lobby is sweating for loot like their rent depends on it.
But Arc Raiders, it went mainstream instantly. Now I won't say anything, I will let the numbers tell the whole story. November 2nd, 355,000 players. November 9th, 461,000 players. November 16th, 482,000. And that, by the way, that was the all-time peak. November 23rd, 449,000 players. Guys, this wasn't just a random turbulence. It was a controlled climb. Every Sunday at around 8 to 9, Arc Raiders pulled in peak numbers like it was hosting weekly family dinners. Even its slight dip after the all-time high wasn't really a dip, guys. 449,000 is still 27% higher than its first peak, showing retention that other shooters would sacrifice freaking DLC plans for. It is one of the most sold games on Steam, and guys, the daily averages, they seal the deal. For context, let's compare Battlefield 6 with Arc Raiders. Battlefield 6 on a daily average has 220 to 230,000 players. Arc Raiders 360 to 390,000 players, and that number is only growing. Arc Raiders isn't just trending, guys, it's anchoring itself into the platform, creating a footprint far bigger than expected for a launch this freaking recent. Guys, the game didn't just invade Steam and die 1 week later. Oh no, it stayed there, gripping the charts like a game that came prepared with a year-long lease. The reason players haven't wandered off isn't mysterious, and it definitely isn't luck. Arc Raiders built a foundation that's both mechanically satisfying and shockingly accessible for a genre that's usually as forgiving as a brick to the freaking shins. At its core, the game thrives on physics-driven combat, where every hit, every knockback, and every ricochet feels tactile. Extraction shooters tend to lean on tension, but Arc Raiders amplifies it with movement, momentum, and impact that responds like actual objects colliding in a sandbox. This physicality gives the gameplay a crunchy, gratifying sense of weight, something players repeatedly highlight as a major freaking hook. The atmosphere is another pillar of its success. Arc Raiders doesn't rely on empty set dressing. Oh no, guys, it builds a world that feels lived in. The lighting, the weather conditions, the silhouettes of machines lurking in fog, the whole environment behaves like a character. The audio design, meanwhile, has become borderline freaking iconic. From subtle environment cues to booming mechanical roars, the game uses sound not just as flavor, but as a gameplay tool, guiding players without freaking overwhelming them. Then guys, the most impressive thing that I found about Arc Raiders is its accessibility. Extraction shooters almost always assume players clock out of work and clock directly into their freaking stress. Arc Raiders though breaks that tradition with solo matchmaking, smart onboarding, and mechanics that respect new players
rather than throwing them into a freaking death simulator.
It gives room to learn, adapt, and experiment without punishment disguised as hardcore design philosophy. The live service structure also has kept players glued. Instead of dropping one flashy event and vanishing for months, Arc Raiders maintain momentum through a steady flow of things to do. Quests, trials ranking, raider deck progression, a full expedition wipe coming December 21st, rotating events, cosmetic unlocks, and raider tokens. And even those who've completed everything aren't drifting away because the horizon keeps freaking expanding. The Eminent Cold Snap update promises a new snow-themed map condition, a limited time event, new quests, and a brand new raider deck. Players adore Arc Raiders because it delivers something amazing and rare. Consistent content, satisfying gameplay, and a welcoming environment, all wrapped in a genre that usually scares off the casual crowd. The result? A community that isn't just active, guys, it's growing by the minute. Guys, Arc Raiders isn't just succeeding, it's setting off alarms in freaking AAA boardrooms. The kind of alarms where executives pause meetings, stare at the Steam charts, and wonder how a stylish extraction shooter just waltzed in and redefined freaking expectations.
Without spending 3 years hyping up a trailer at every gaming conference on freaking Earth.
The industry has a long track record of copying whatever works. Battle royales, hero shooters, crafting systems, open world but with towers, and Arc Raiders is about to become the next blueprint major publishers imitate through 2026 and 2027. The first thing AAA studios will chase is the game's physics-driven sandbox combat. Most big-budget shooters rely on polished animations and scripted impact, but Arc Raiders proved that unpredictable momentum, ricochets, knockbacks, and environmental collisions can create memorable encounters, far more organic. Guys, you can practically hear designers at Ubisoft or EA scribbling in notebooks. More physics, make explosions explode better. Everything should have weight, guys. When a mechanic creates replayability naturally, AAA doesn't just ignore it, it studies it. Then with the atmosphere, like we've mentioned, Arc Raiders delivers a world that feels tactile and moody without bogging players down in walls of exposition. AAA, on the other hand, has been drifting toward increasingly sterile environments, obsessed with graphical sharpness but often forgetting emotional tone. Arc Raiders brought back that gritty, industrial, analog sci-fi energy. And from that, we can expect AAA extraction shooters to lean into heavier lighting, fog, sound cues, and world building that communicates through ambience instead of lore freaking encyclopedias. The next copycat trait is the one publishers will absolutely circle in red, blue, green, and black. Accessibility without sacrificing tension. For freaking years, extraction shooters were locked behind steep learning curves. They were the domain of hardcore grinders who treated every match like it was the end of the freaking world. But Arc Raiders? It proved that the genre can still feel dangerous and rewarding without demanding a binder of freaking tutorials. It basically gave new players a chance to breathe. And AAA studios love that. They love player retention features that don't come across as punishing. And finally, we have Arc Raiders update philosophy. Now, AAA live service games are usually chained to strict seasonal calendars where content is pumped out whether it's ready or not. Embark Studios, they broke the pattern by promising updates only when they're polished. They preferred quality over clockwork. When a game can dominate charts without a rigid schedule, it challenges the entire seasonal battle pass economy. Now we can watch for future AAA attempts to adopt similar release when ready structures, rebranding it as a player first development or some buzzword that fits nicely on marketing slides. Guys, we need to understand that Arc Raiders didn't just enter the market, it freaking reshaped it. And over the next 2 years, the industry's biggest studios will be studying every part of its design, presentation, and philosophy in an attempt to bottle lightning the same way. Arc Raiders, you have freaking done it. You arrived with force, stayed with confidence, and grew with freaking purpose. Guys, 1 month after launch, its player counts, they aren't fading. They're stabilizing, they're strengthening, and they're signaling that this game isn't going anywhere. The gameplay loop hits that perfect balance of weight, tension, and cinematic flair. The live service structure keeps the world alive without overwhelming its players, and the upcoming updates prove the development team understands how to evolve the game without diluting its freaking identity. What started as an anticipated release turned into one backed by data, design, and community enthusiasm. If the community trajectory holds, Ark Raiders won't just be remembered as a strong launch, it will be remembered as the moment the extraction shooter genre cracked open for a wider audience. And from here, the only direction the game seems to be going is upward. What do you guys think? Does Ark Raiders truly deserve the hype, or should I have hyped and complimented this game even freaking more? Drop your thoughts down below.
Preferably before someone tries to loot me in real life.
And guys, thank you once again for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content in the future. Take care and I'll see you in the next one.